I was so hyped up for the virtual reality that it was brought to us by Oculus, and according to them, it was about to cost 400 euros, dollars, whatever you want, and then they announced the price.
In that ballpark,
Michael,
that ballpark.
The flying VR told us everything we want to know on a Reddit, where he apologized for the huge fuck up they did in terms of communication.
Let's get this straight. We don't think personally that this was it was a mistake in the pricing. It was a mistake in the communication department, and then saying, yeah, it's gonna be around $350 or $400, and then not saying anything except a couple of tweets saying, hey, this is gonna be expensive, and then pre-orders come 10, 9, 8, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and suddenly it's $599.
What I find interesting is that even despite this high price point now, is that they're not including the Oculus Touch, the one we tried at last E3 it was, I think, which was like a huge thing. They made, this is the improvement we need, and this was actually them catching up to the Vive, which already has the room experience going, and now they had a room experience going too. So they're not even including this. What they're including is the shitty Xbox One controller that everybody already has.
Everyone has already.
And they're also including a remote, which is like just the system they have working in the Gear VR thing from Samsung, the thing that you sit with either of your hands. Which one was it? I think it's the right one.
But I think it's useful to ship that. Not so much the Xbox One controller, because everyone has one already and it doesn't make much sense. But I think the remote thing is quite useful, because it's like a different way of controlling things, and it allows software that previously was only available on Gear VR to have the right inputs to work on the Oculus, which already makes a lot of software available for Oculus, whereas maybe if they would have to port all the games from Gear VR back to the Oculus, when you can just have that input placed on your hand.
And then you can play Gunjack, which was so epic!
Best game ever.
Well, for everyone who doesn't know Gunjack, that's the EVR spin-off that the CCP guys are also working on. Isn't it CCP, right?
Yes, it's CCP, but it's different from Valkyrie. It's like you were the one that tried it. Actually. It's like
you're moving with your head and then trying to shoot the bad guys in space with your head movements. That's what the game is about. And
doing like combos and stuff.
And you're tapping your thing all the time like you're an idiot. Yeah. So we're getting all of this for $600 now.
Yes, but I think there was like a lot of confusion also yesterday with the price. Like a lot of European guys on Reddit saying they were ripped off and that it was not fair for European users, and how could it be automatically 100 plus more euros than dollars. The thing is, the price that was displayed in dollars is without any kind of taxes. So even for an American purchaser, it's gonna be more expensive unless you live in Alaska or some state that doesn't have any kind of taxes.
Then you have crazy shipping, like 130 euros or whatever. But let's not talk about shipping. That's a thing. That's not Parma's fault.
The Australian guys were like, hey, it's plus $200 for shipping. And it's like, yeah, if you're in the other side of the world, well, tough luck. But the thing is, the European price point of $699 had already VAT included. So taxes were covered, and that's like 21%, which is a lot. So the final price in Europe is, if I recall correctly, 741. You know that number really well.
It's burned into my head. Yeah, so I was lying in bed and tinkering and thinking about everything, what we've been through over the course of the last 2 years. And remembering, I've been in the tech industry now for 7 years. If you count my gaming days before that, I'm in the industry for 10 years. And I've never been more excited in my life for anything in our industry ever. It convinced me immediately. And why would I not invest in such a new... I invested much more in other stuff. Like this television behind me, it's 4K, so whatever. It cost even more. And it didn't bring me anything yet apart from a minor upgrade in Netflix resolution, but not really in bitrate too much. It's not a big thing, and I spent this kind of money.
That's what we were saying yesterday. Like, I was about to buy a 27-inch display for 700 euros. And I was ready to do that. Like, okay, I want 144 hertz display, 27-inch IPS, whatever. Okay, so I will pay for this. I know this will pay for itself in the long run. But with this, we were like, so I think it was what you were saying, communication, just expectations. If we had expected 600 euros or 700 euros from a month ago,
we were
then
already
maybe
on it with the Vive. I mean, nobody expects the Vive to be any cheaper. Some people, for some reason, do, but it's not gonna be cheaper. They are going to ship it with the IR blasters and the controllers. This thing is gonna be even more expensive.
I don't understand actually why everyone's saying, like, I was browsing Vive subreddit today, and there's like, yeah, they've done it, Vive's gonna sweep Oculus, they just have to price it $50 and undercut Oculus by $50. And I'm like, how like, what are you even thinking? It must cost like twice. If you are already including both ones, you're including the IR blasters, and the headset seems to be, well, at least it has the front-facing, at least it's on par, technology. And you have to add the equivalent of the touch, which we are guessing will be 200 euros in the case of Oculus, right? Yeah. If it has to include another camera.
Exactly, and that's what it, if you want the room experience, when we talked to Palmer Luckey at Gamescom and did the interview, he said, like, the Oculus Touch and the room thing, it's all about occlusion, and some things are always occluded by something in your living room if you want to set it up, and one camera will just not cut it then. And then you will need a second one, and the controller. So I'm thinking it's another 200 to 300 euros at least, yes.
Yeah, because, I mean, bear in mind, just a Steam controller or a regular Xbox One controller is already like 60...
People paid,
60
what was
euro,
it on
right?
eBay, like 200 to 250 for the fucking Xbox One Elite controller. And that's not that much of an improvement for your gaming. That's all classic gaming. At least what you're investing in here is something that's gonna stick. And that's a point I really want to make. Because lots of people on the internet, lots of stuff I read yesterday after the reaction was like, well, it's just, so this is, VR is doomed. It's basically, Oculus is doomed. This all is not going to happen. This is overpriced. Nobody's going to sell it, buy it. So, but, and it's like with the V or with the Kinect or with the PlayStation ballsy glowing thing.
The PS Move,
yes.
I heard that. I had that comparison today on
and
Twitter.
It's just
everyone
not true.
Saying.
I mean, when I saw Kinect, Kinect never like won me over with anything. I saw it working as a technology, but it never got me like psyched or
it never
hyped
clicked.
Or
You never thought in 2 years everyone's gonna be playing with Kinect because it's awesome. It was just like
alright. This
a fancy way of controlling.
and Microsoft kept saying, we have these awesome ideas for it in the future, but they never came to fruition with anything.
It felt gimmicky.
Yeah.
It was just gimmicky.
I remember the Elite Dangerous demo I had at Gamescom, I think it was. And flying through space with the Oculus there was so mind-blowing. And I want this as soon as possible because I already played my share of JRPGs, of classic gaming in general, shooters, building sims, everything. At least this is something completely new, and I loved it.
Mm-hmm. I remember when we first tried it, it was like just a simple demo, the EVR, and as soon as everyone took the DK1s off, it was like, hey, CCP guys, you have to make this again. You have something here, like this has to be something that people can actually buy in a store. Maybe not today, maybe 3 years from now, and that's where we've come from there.
And this is gonna be reality this year. What people were saying again on the internet is what I read. It's all about the software in the end, and I think people are right. And I think a killer application has not been invented yet. I think playing Eve Valkyrie won't be... You can't play Eve Valkyrie for hundreds and hundreds of hours. It's an arcade game as well. It might be the Rocket League of VR, but it's not going to be Mario 64.
I've played CS for 600 hours, so maybe I can play Valkyrie for a couple thousand.
Yeah. So it's a lineup. It's a launch lineup. Usually launch lineups are shitty. At least you get like with Lucky's Tale, this jump and run seems solid. It won't be a Mario, I guess, but it will be okay. But
no, and I don't think in that case the VR. I think that's a nice way to introduce people, which is get something they already know, like a classic platformer, and add the VR spin to it. But it's not like something completely crazy.
Yeah.
Like Edge of Nowhere, like that's an adventure that we've all played, like in the classic style, not VR. But now you just add all the nice tricks and things you can do with VR, like looking around, dodging stuff. Having to look backwards and to the front again. But I think what really will drive people towards VR is actually having things that we haven't seen yet at all, because they cannot be achieved without VR.
Exactly. Actually, all of the experiences they are selling at the moment are rather traditional, like the platformer we saw like in Mario 64, the shooter, which exists in some other universe already.
Job Simulator.
Job Simulator. But this is like mundane tasks, like in Job Simulator, actually are now super interesting, super fascinating, and are fun. I enjoyed my time in the kitchen in the VR demo of the Vive so much, like cutting up my groceries, putting them in the pot. It's fascinating.
But not gimmicky. Like it's not something you would like go to a friend's place, try it out, and be like, okay, I've tried it. I've saved 700 euros. I tried VR. It's okay, but like, what more? What do you think will make this kind of technology stay here instead of being something that people try and then everyone forgets about because it has nothing more to it? Maybe. Yes, what we have tried, and the thing is, it's a difficult thing to sell because you cannot actually sell it to someone until they try it. That's why they're doing so many tours and they're letting so many people try it in the different gaming places, because you can have someone tell you whatever they want to say, but until you try it, you put the goggles on for the first time, and you are suddenly in space, flying a spaceship, looking around, looking down at your legs,
starting to grab your joystick,
trying to grab the joystick or trying to move your leg. I mean, the first thing that happened to me in VR was like I tried to move my legs and I was like, why are my legs not moving? And then you're like, oh, damn it. But for me, it was like playing Super Mario 64 for the first time.
It was completely revolutionary, this experience.
It was one of these like first experiences you're always going to remember. The first time you try an Oculus, at least for me.
Things are going to be developed over the course of the year or the next years that are going to make it even more useful to everyone and everyday life, because this technology is so solid and works so well. Just like with the iPhone, if you remember, you had it as your phone, and actually for typing stuff it wasn't that great. But then again, for browsing maps today, it's awesome, and nobody pictured maps being such a great thing on it. With VR, like painting, doing artistry, being in a world, just going on history tours, like standing there when something was built in the past and trying to experience it. These are going to be experiences that are being sold. And I'm into that. I want to be there when that happens.
I think that's really a really interesting point, because the Oculus devs were saying that only 50% is what they expect that will be covered by games, that the other 50% will be what you were calling experiences. Like maybe it's not about finding new ways to play, but maybe just new ways of experiencing things. Like imagining all the people that cannot go somewhere because they're maybe too old to get on a plane, or they have a hip problem and they cannot go up some stairs, and suddenly you can visit every kind of place that you would have dreamed of in that very moment.
Yeah.
Or we could visit some place together while you're in Germany and I'm in Spain, and like jump right in together and discover some ancient ruins that already
exactly,
existed.
and this is the part that already works, and we know it because we tried it. I understand the skepticism of everyone out there on the internet who hasn't had the opportunity to try it yet. I mean, you are just reading the gaming press, the enthusiast press, the tech press, who are just telling you it's so awesome, and you're skeptical because you've been let down in the past. The PlayStation Move was no game changer. The Wii was a game changer for older people, very young people, but not really for you as the hardcore gamer, or the guy who has this awesome PC already running and was now waiting for something. I understand the skepticism, and nobody asks anyone to be at the forefront of this, but I am sure and convinced this is gonna happen anyway, so you can jump on later, next year, at a lower price point, whenever you want. But it's already also here now, and 700 euros is a lot of money, but it's maybe not that overpriced that people think it actually is for something that's completely new and is trying to revolutionize something at the moment.
And I think it totally will. And once we look in retrospect, do you think the price will go down really fast?
No,
with
all the communication
iterations?
of Oculus to me sounds like they are not going to price drop this. It's going to be super stable, because what they're saying is the rest of this formula they made up with 1,500 for everything is that the rest of the prices will go down. Graphics cards prices will go down, and the rest of the PC components, which is true, but they want to stay stable. So the overall experience for 1,500 euros, that will get less and less over the years, and that is somehow true. But I want to know, do you think, like, just looking at the components, like what Palma said on Reddit, that the lenses are so hard to manufacture, does it cost more, maybe even more than the 700 euros, $600 that they're asking for?
Well, actually, there was a tweet by a Valve developer this evening saying that he thought that the LED displays that the Oculus uses are like $100.
Sounds reasonable. Although it's OLED, right?
Yes, he said they were asking Samsung for some really similar ones, and that's like the ballpark. They said like $100. So I think we will know for sure once everyone starts stripping the Oculus down, once they get them. But still,
I don't know how much more does like lightweight cost. What I don't like is when it's like super flimsy, like a Wii U gamepad, and it's starting to be like that's shitty manufacturing and just in general not nice. But what they at least showed, the Crescent Bay thing, was really, really good in terms of quality. It was lightweight, but it used nice materials.
For me, it was a huge improvement over the DK2, because the outside of the consumer version and of the Crescent Bay is not made of this kind of plastic,
yeah.
and the inside is not made of this kind of foam. It's more like a rigid cardboardy feel, which okay, if you think cardboard, that sounds like so shitty, but it's obviously not cardboard. It has maybe that feel, but like less fragile maybe, and less wonky, like
and
more
they even were able
sturdy and stable. And the back strap is also not like the old snowboarding goggle back strap. It's like more rigid also, and you also have sensors in the back of your head, which improves detection.
They got rid of the thing that you put on over the middle of your head too in the final version now, which I like a lot.
It goes by the side, right, instead of on the top. Cables and everything, and you have audio built in, which also obviously I think it's a huge improvement, because it was really wonky to have all the headphones around and one more cable, and it was not the best experience.
It will be interesting to see how this is going to evolve. So because if you think about audio enthusiasts, they are paying a ton load of money for their audio. already, but you won't buy a 5.1 system for the Oculus because it only is stereo all the time. But you're able to exchange it. But that's gonna be finicky. As I read on the Reddit thing, is that it won't work with super high-end headphones at the moment. You will have to tinker with the chipset.
Palmer is quite an audiophile himself, so actually there was some threads that were pulled out from Gearslats. Do you know that forum? It's audiophile forum, and they were. It was a post by Palmer like 2 or 3, maybe 2 years ago, asking people about doing headphones for the Oculus, and that's where he started getting like all of his ideas for the Crescent Bay models. Like, hey, which one do you think are better? What kind of design would you use this if you want to put some headphones to a kind of a mask design? And in the end, well, he stated in the Reddit AMA the kind of equivalent to audiophile headphones that the Oculus uses. But yeah, he said like if you want to use higher grade models, you will have to go with your own hardware and your own DAC. That you won't be able to use the one that's built in by Oculus.
For me, the HTC Vive experience was even better because this room experience, walking around, grabbing stuff, opening cupboards, getting stuff out. This felt so convincing, so real. It really tricks your mind, and it was this moment when I knew this is going to last. Everybody who has tried this will want more and will try to get experiences they are not going to get anywhere else.
Well, Vive didn't do that much for me, actually.
You tried the Dota demo, but you've met the shopkeeper in virtual reality.
Yes, I was there talking to him, but
you had the shitty cable situation going.
I stepped on the cable, and that was really annoying. I don't know. I didn't have that great of experience, but I think that's also the future that awaits to VR, like being able to grab things and moving around. The thing is, do you think the Vive will meet its April release date? Because I mean, it's already January, we haven't heard anything.
It's all speculation now. At least they've shown the second dev kit now, the pre, and...
Yeah, but the thing is, they've shown the second dev kit now, and the scheduled release date is April. It's 4 months from now.
I'm going to tell you something. I am convinced that all three, well, maybe 2 of the headsets will be out by Christmas. For everyone to buy.
Okay, by Christmas, so only 1 year.
Yeah. That's not a long time.
No.
And now you broke your dev kit too.
No, my lens cap.
Okay, so what we're basically saying is the price was a very unpleasant surprise to almost everyone. The communication was bad. Oculus apologized for the shitty communication, which is
Palmer himself.
Palmer himself.
Yes.
Well, that's what he does. That's his way. They're putting him in front. He's charming, but also clumsy and down to earth. And although he's a billionaire, whatever, he can be fun to be around. Let's say like that. So he can convince people like that again. But that was a fuck up. There is going to be another uproar once they announce the price for the controllers and the second thing you put, the second camera. I'm sure of it. And there's going to be another uproar when the HTC Vive price is announced. The thing
and
is,
it's like 1,200 euros, and everyone's
probably,
like,
yeah, around that. The question is, will the PlayStation VR be any more closer to people who want this than like 400 to 500? I think that might actually happen. Maybe it's 599, 549, whatever. But I think it's going to be 450 at least.
But then again, what about the hardware? See, the thing the doubt I have now with PSVR is like, if Oculus is saying it's good, you need like a top tier PC to run this. What's gonna happen with PS4?
They are going to release PlayStation 2 like graphics games with it, so they run at the 120 FPS refresh rate.
that's the shitty part, and I think that's completely true. Like, what can you do with the PS4?
That's the
PS4's
only thing you
GPU.
can. Yeah, but that's fine by me. Better than the shitty frame rate, and then everything messes with your head. And the PlayStation VR demos we tried, at least they worked. They didn't look too great, but they worked. They were as involving. You were as much.
So maybe we could see like PSVR being like an introduction to VR.
Sure, why not?
If for like more mainstream, because a lot of people have like PS4s, and you can buy that for maybe 400 euros, the PSVR full kit. I think the question is more about the games, and especially if you are a developer and you're developing for Oculus, will you be able to port that easily to PSVR?
Probably not. To be honest,
then that's
going to be a problem.
Part.
I mean, you see those problems already with The Witcher. I mean, The Witcher works on the PlayStation, but the loading times and the graphical fidelity is not even close to what's possible on the PC. And the PC version was already dumbed down, so it's more of a framework for everyone to work with. If the ports are not possible, the future of VR lies in the PC and the openness of the platform, and not in a thing. Although it's easier to develop for one platform, obviously, I don't think that one console will outperform or be as intriguing as what you can do with it on the PC. On the PC you have the video thing, the porn thing, you will have the experiences, you will have anything you want. On the PlayStation it will be just told by Sony what you're like going to experience. Things.
And just one last question. Do you think that with this last thing you said, that Oculus and especially Facebook are willing to allow this ecosystem to be open enough for there to be competition and a lot of software? Or will Zuckerberg just go like, hey, this is my thing, so get the fuck out?
I don't know. Zuckerberg is capable of doing anything, that's all I know. So he might fuck all the gamers over at some point. And that's also, while I was about to drop the money for the Oculus yesterday, and I was sitting there, I was thinking, well, maybe I don't want to give all of this money to Facebook. Because that's the thing that turns me down about this hardware the most, that you're giving it to a Zuckerberg thing. I don't like Facebook too much. I don't like their strategy and what they did in the past. So why would I do this now? It's just the fact that they happen to have bought in on intelligently in the past, buying Oculus. And so this is the bitter side of it.
But in the end, you still trust Palmer.
Somehow. I don't know how much he will have to say with it, but until now it seems okay. At least they seem to want to make and deliver a quality product, and that's always what I like and what I prefer. I don't want to have the shitty Google card boxes and playing with those.
And I mean, from his answers in the AMA, he was like, when people asked him, hey, are you going to limit the PC hardware in which this can run? If I'm not meeting the minimum requirements, will it be blocked? And he's like, hey, we don't like that. If you find a way to hack it and make it run, whatever, we're not going to support it. But if it runs, it runs. Yeah. The same thing with the audio. Hey, we have this system. If you want to hack it and plug in your super high-def things, go for it. That's the way he made the Oculus, just hacking things and building things around. So
doing
I
lots
like
of
that.
duct tape and meeting with Carmack.
And VD40 and duct tape and everything's fixed. Yeah. So I do believe in him in that regard. It's just let's hope this strategy does not turn around completely. Maybe a couple of years from now, I hope it does not.
But then again, then there will be lots of other options. Because this is like a virus spreading throughout humanity, just like it was with a smartphone. Like at the start, only a few got it, and then they showed it around. Everybody liked it. Then they got one too, and then they liked it too. Now everyone virtually has a smartphone, and everyone is dropping around, from 200 to 700 euros on it every 2 years. And that's I see that also happening to VR. I think in 10 years, at least in every household in the Western world where there's these kinds of life that we're living, we'll have a VR headset of some sort that is capable of doing games, entertainment, and all the other stuff that's possible.
And porn.
Exactly. Hey world! We're gonna continue talking about the VR for at least 1 year, whether you like it or not, on this very channel. So if you want to listen to us talking about VR, tech stuff in general, everything that's fascinating in the tech gaming world, then please subscribe. And you know the drill, you know YouTube. We know you know YouTube, so we don't want to fuss too much about it.
You already did, man. You already did.
And if you managed to get through this very first video of ours, we are thankful for that. I hope you enjoyed it a little bit.
Thank you very much.
And we will see you. Peace out.
Bye-bye.